outside Santa Cruz. I'm Joyce Anderson, and our special guest speaker today I want to introduce is Zach Friend, our county supervisor. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I just want to say that this is the Salvation Army Kettle Kick Off for 2014, and it's going to be an exciting day. I think we're sold out, and we have 2 honorees. And we want to talk about that a little later and interview more people. But first, Zach, I want to talk to you about your book. Zach has written a book, and it's on sale at Bookshop Santa Cruz, our local bookshop that everyone treasures, and it's called On Message. So what prompted you to write this book?
Well, I was doing some writing for the Huffington Post, and a lot of it focused on narrative and storytelling and how political campaigns can deal with that. And it occurred to me as I was working on political campaigns that a lot of the success of a campaign or a business or a nonprofit is its story and how successful they are with communicating that story and what are the elements of that. So I decided to take some of the writings I was doing for the Huffington Post into a book, and I've been very fortunate that it got published.
It's wonderful. I mean, there's so much information. And what's interesting, you also mentioned the Salvation Army in this book. I thought that was really, really good. It talks about excuse me, organizations and how they can profit from being smart about how they brand themselves.
Right.
And of course, large organizations such as Salvation Army has done a good job with that.
Yeah, the Salvation Army's entire story is one of giving, and they've been very successful at cultivating it, not just events like this, but through their actions. And one of the things that the book focuses on is how much do what you say actually match what it is that you actually do. And that's how people, connect with the reality of what you are. And I think the Salvation Army, in its day-to-day actions, has been very successful in making sure that the poorest among us are taken care of and that the giving be the focus of their mission.
Sure. Some of your background I've read also in this book that you were a press secretary for the Obama campaign. How did you get involved in that?
Well, there actually aren't that many people that do these kinds of things, and I was fortunate enough to get a call from the campaign very early on to do some work for them in Pennsylvania in the primary, and then again I came back in the general election to be one of their state spokespeople. And I got to say, he's an amazing person. It was an inspirational campaign in 2008, touring around the state and seeing some of the areas that really just needed our help, and seeing how he connected with people was pretty inspirational. But to be able to speak for the person that became the President of the United States was a great honor.
I think so. Can you tell us what was one of the best things that happened to you on the campaign trail?
I think one of the best things that happened to me was actually before I attended one of the rallies. A motorcade had pulled up to a location in Philadelphia that was a very poor and predominantly African American neighborhood, and this elderly woman had pulled me aside. She was sitting on her stoop in her porch there, and she had said that she'd never thought, this is an area that no presidential candidate would ever go to, right? And she had never thought that she'd see the day that she'd see young white men working to try and elect the first black president. I mean, for all that she had seen in her life and all the difficulties she had seen, it was so, it just put it all into context about that it was a historic moment that we were engaged in, and it was just such a privilege to be a part of that.
Wow, that's a great story. I mean, for a lot of people, they have never thought that day would come.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
That day would never come in our society. So was there any story that was really sort of a scary part of the campaign? That was any negatives at all that you felt?
There were realities that not everybody was still comfortable with having the first black president in the United States, and there was a lot of some of the stories that came out, some of the negativity, and some of the rallies that were held against him were very personal, and some of them very racial, and that was unfortunate because he was really running on a post-racial message, and I think that it was just about the economy, it was about healthcare, it was about the policies that everybody wanted to embrace at a time when the country needed to come together, but a lot of the focus did deal specifically with who he was as his background and what he was as far as being black, and I thought that was, the negativity on that was unfortunate, but I think as time has gone on, it's changed, and I think just in the last 6 years we've seen a lot of changes.
Well, obviously you did a good job as a press secretary. He was elected. There was a lot involved in that. Do you ever go back to Washington, D.C.?
I do.
I
do. I've got a lot of friends there in the administration. They've been very gracious, allowing my wife and I to come visit, and they even given us opportunities to come back there, but I really wanted to stay here in Santa Cruz. I got to say, and anybody that looks at Congress can know this, that at least we can get something done here
Yes.
at a local level
Yes.
and really make a difference in our lives. We have a brand new child, and I think about now just making public policy decisions for him. It's an
I
exciting
know.
situation.
I wanted to say congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and your wife. I know it's a life-changing environment with a new baby. So, but you look like you're getting plenty of rest, but you're
I'm
not.
absolutely not. I don't. You know, if he ever watches this years from now, I mean, would it kill you to do more than 2 hours at a time? Would it, Elliot? So that's going to be my one for you, my friend. Just more than 2 hours is all we're asking
Just
for.
sleep.
Yeah, in a row, but preferably.
They
Yeah.
say that doesn't last forever, but
Okay,
it
I'll
does.
believe it when I see it, Joyce. But yeah.
Well, Zach, we are so thankful for you to come and speak to the Salvation Army and the people at the luncheon today. And I just wanted to remind everybody, this is really an interesting, wonderful book. You did a good job. There's so much information in there that I've even used. But you know, one of the things, what's one of the most important things you could say about messaging?
That it has to be emotional. I really believe that people connect much more with emotion than purely with facts, and we like to communicate on a purely fact-based situation. People don't connect in the same way as they do with emotionally compelling narratives. And you think about what the Salvation Army is doing. These are people's lives, and you could just focus on the percentages of people they're helping, or you could tell the individual stories of the people's lives that are impacted, and the latter has much more resonance.
Yeah, well, and also having a sense of humor. I know you do have a good sense of humor, so I think that helps.
I appreciate that. I'm trying.
Okay. Well, thank you, and we'll look forward to hearing you today.
Thanks for the invite, Joyce. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, I want to introduce our captain, Lourdes Griffiths. I want to welcome you, and you are doing such a great job here in Santa Cruz. And you're our
General Secretary of the Golden State Division, Major Rob Burks.
And you're from San Francisco,
I
is
am,
that
yes.
right?
That's where our headquarters is located for this region, the Golden State Division.
Well, we're so happy to have you down here in
Thank you.
Santa Cruz.
It's an honor to be here.
I know it's a big job to oversee so many places in the country. But what are you looking for nationwide, or?
Well, most people might not know, Joyce, that the Salvation Army, obviously we're most visible at Christmas time. But what we do, you can, in one sense, say it's kind of Christmas all year round for the Salvation Army. In every community that we're in, we're serving people 24 hours, no, not 24 hours a day, but certainly 7 days a week, every week of the year. And so whatever the need is in any given community, the Salvation Army is all about trying to meet that need for people. And so we need people to give, and to give generously to the Red Kettle campaign in the community in which they live. And that money stays in their community to help the people in their community. So really what we're asking is the community to help the Salvation Army help the community.
No, that's a wonderful, wonderful program. And this is the time of year that everybody notices the red kettle.
That's right.
So be sure when you pass by, put something in that kettle for all the people we help. Lourdes, what are some of the big responsibilities for all the collection of money that we do here at the court?
Well, for the Christmas season, we are serving a little bit over 600 families, and for them, we need about 2,000 toys to meet those kids. About $30,000 worth of money because we need to give them food. In our community, in our chapter, we give them gift cards from Safeway and chicken or turkeys, whichever they desire to get. So that's where the $30,000 will be very helpful, hopefully from today. And then the rest for the Kettle campaign, it will help us to meet the needs of the community throughout the whole year, not just this season.
Yeah, that's so important because you do have to have people and hire people to help us. There's just so many, we have so many wonderful volunteers, but sometimes just not enough to go around. And this is a time of year when people do need help.
Yes, and we also have our giving tree at the Capitolo Mall, and we encourage people to take one or two of those tags because those are the requests, the wishes that those children have, and to bring those gifts back to the angel tree or the giving tree at the mall or to our office on 721 Laurel Street in Santa Cruz.
Well, one of the things we're doing today, we have two honorees. We have Ken Knappen from the CEO of Plantronics and Jim Weyerman, the president of the Warriors.
Yes.
So we're honoring both of these men today, and it's so important. We're so grateful to have him here in our community and having the Warrior team and also companies like Plantronics who do support us. So we will have a nice little a video and a wonderful program, and we have the band here.
We have the divisional headquarters band and also the Pacific Brass band. And it's good that you mentioned the Warriors because they are very supportive to the Salvation Army in Santa Cruz. And in fact, on December the 17th, for the second year, they are going to be having a Salvation Army night. So that game is going to be dedicated to the Salvation Army, where they are going to be auctioning the jerseys of their players. It's a silent auction. And all the proceeds go to meet the needs in the community through the Salvation Army.
Well, it's a great partnership to have. So,
Yes,
and so I'll be sure to tell people to get to that game and
Yes.
support us.
Well, you can buy your tickets because they're selling out really quick.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get this on air and we can do a little brief public service announcement for that event.
Correct.
So
Yes.
we'll have a wonderful day today.
Thank you,
Let's hope
Joyce.
we meet that 30,000
I'm
goal.
sure we can do it.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joyce.
I just ran into, we have three wonderful people here. We have Don Lane, who's going to be our future mayor, right? Upcoming, when do you start?
December 9th.
December 9th. Tom Honig, he's on the board of the Salvation Army. And of course, my good friend, Seal Cirillo. She does everything in the community that I know of. But it's good to see you all here and support the Salvation Army.
Well, we're all happy to be here. We
Yeah,
come
it's
from
great.
different walks of life, but we're all here for the same thing.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And you know, I'm just so thrilled to be here honoring Jim Wehrman and Ken Tanapin, whom I know very well, and just have lots of respect for them and the Salvation Army honoring them today.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and they're and Zach Friend is our guest speaker, so we're going to enjoy what he has to say.
Well, it's a great kickoff to the season of giving. We're
Well, so
glad
good to
be here.
see you. So happy holidays.
Happy
Thank you, Joyce.
holidays.
Thanks for
you.
having us here.
Thank
This is a
you.
great event.
Thank you.
I want to introduce Rob Morris with PG&E. So welcome to this event, and you're everywhere. But tell us what's going on with PG&E and the importance of safety during the holidays.
Well, thanks, Joyce. It's really important these holiday season for folks to be conscious, safety conscious. Number one, making sure that their furnaces are running properly, and PG&E will actually come out and check those for free. So please call us if you're interested in having your furnace checked. We'll come out and do a safety check for you. Also, a lot of people have ornaments and decorations in their house, and they use extension cords. You need to be very careful about the kind of plug load you have and using the proper extension cords, and only don't connect more than one extension cord together at a time. And we promote using surge protectors instead. It's much safer. And so be aware of those things, and of course, if you ever have any safety questions or have any concerns, call PG&E, and it's 1-800-PGE-5000.
Well, you know, that's a good tip because I have an appointment for next week because now the weather's cold and I have to turn on my gas heaters. So I thought, and PG&E is coming out to check. I have them come out every year and check just to be safe.
And then we encourage that. It's like we'll come out and check your furnace. We'll check your other gas appliances to make sure they're running properly.
Smart.
And that's just what we do. So safety is so important to us, and we want to help our customers do that.
Yeah, well, have a happy holiday.
Why, thank
This is
you.
a great Kettle Kick Off to bring, the Salvation Army feeds over 600 families during the holidays. They buy toys for children, and so there's so much that they do. So this is their way of raising money today for that.
And this is a fantastic, the Salvation Army is a fantastic nonprofit. And I know many of our employees are involved with the Salvation Army, whether they're bell ringing or donating, and we fully support it. There's so many people out there that are in need, and the Salvation meets those
And
needs.
meets those needs. Well, thank you so much for being here. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi, I'm Ken Conopon, and I hope you're enjoying your lunch. You know, it's the beginning of the holiday season with Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday, and start of memories for all of us. For me, it was trudging around in the snow because I grew up where it was a little bit colder, and you'd always smell the chestnuts, and you'd see that Salvation Army kettle and people donating for the people who were in greater need. And it always reminded you that it was a time, on the one hand, that was special and beautiful, and part of that beauty was the opportunity to help other people in the community. And I at least want to thank Salvation Army for everything that they do in helping the needy people. Those kettles that started over 100 years ago in San Francisco are continuing to collect money for those who need it. Of course, so many other activities that they're involved with throughout the community in helping the needy and giving hope to those who need the hope and the promise and the human touch of caring from others in the organization. For Plantronics, we are always interested in helping the community in which we work. Their pantry helps provide food for those who are in need. We donate toys through their program to children who wouldn't otherwise receive anything over the holidays. And it's a really special opportunity for us to participate with the Salvation Army. And we thank all of you who are here because you share their vision, you share their caring. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday.
Good afternoon. My name's Jim Wireman, and I'm the president of the Santa Cruz Warriors, and incredibly honored to be here today representing our organization and our collaboration with the Salvation Army, which I think has brought a lot of love and joy to the community over the holiday season. The Salvation Army is something that I was introduced to at a very young age. I always remember walking into this big Piggly Wiggly down there in the South where I grew up, and I heard those little bells ringing, and I remember about 5, 6 years old, I looked up and I asked my mom if that was Clarence getting more wings, getting his angel's wings. And that's, of course, from It's a Wonderful Life and James Stewart, because it sounded very much the same. And she said, no, that's the Salvation Army. And I said, well, but Mom, they don't have any guns. How can they be an army? She said, no, they're God's army. They come in, they have something much, much more powerful than guns. They have ideas, they have beliefs, they have energy, and they have strength, and they're here to help protect those people who may not be as fortunate as others. And from very early on, I got that quarter in my hand, and I was able to walk up to that big red kettle, which I will never forget as long as I live. And I was able to put that quarter in, and I got a brilliant smile from the person who was standing there. I got that little bell ring, which made me think maybe I earned my angel's wings that day. And so I was pretty excited, and it's become a tradition all along. When we came to Santa Cruz, being a part of minor league sports, our success is directly related to our ability to integrate into the community. And there's no better organization, there's no better nonprofit than the Salvation Army to be involved with and to be able to make that statement. And there are a lot of great nonprofits in Santa Cruz County. But we're particularly proud of our ability to work with the Salvation Army. I'm particularly proud to be able to work with a faith-based organization. I think it brings the kind of energy and hope to our community, to the lives of individuals who are just less fortunate. And they need that moment in time where somebody's been able to touch their heart, to reach their soul, and to give them the sense that there's something there for them, and there's a reason for them to be a part of our community. The Salvation Army is a place where, they're on the front ground, they're in the trenches. They're the group that take our donations, stretch it a long way, and touch a tremendous amount of lives. As a business leader in our community through the Warriors, I think it's our obligation to participate in helping to build and strengthen these types of organizations. We're very proud to be here. I hope you're proud to be here. We're having a great time, and go Warriors.
My dog Posey and I would like to wish you all a very, very happy holiday season.
So we've been doing this for over about a decade, actually. This is really a launching point for many members of our community to just simply give back. And the work that's been done by the great volunteers here has been help to heal and comfort for so many in our community. Many of you here have served not just locally, be it on earthquakes or wildfires, but even nationally. You're always here to answer the call for families who need things, be it food, be it toys, be it just simple comfort during the season that we're here to give. But today we're actually kicking off not just the Salvation Army's Kettle Kick Off, but we're here on the eve of Thanksgiving, and this is a time when we look back at what we're grateful for, to take stock of the many blessings that we have. And I actually have a number of them. I just had a new son a couple weeks ago. Actually, I didn't do it yet. But we have a son. And let me tell you something, never agree to give a speech 6 months ago when you're going to have a son 3 weeks before you have to give a big speech, and you're trying to write it, and he says to you, well, he doesn't say much, but he screams a lot, you're not going to write it. So this was all written with one hand. But as we look back on the last year, to give thanks not just to the work of the Salvation Army, but today's actually specifically a time to shine a light on those good works, and for us to remember the feeling we had when we were the recipients of generosity. I mean, one of the things that we often forget is that we were also recipients of many things that many people have given to us. And we have this responsibility to carry that feeling out with us when we leave here today and go back into the community that we all serve. And we believe that we both have the ability and the duty to take part in this public service. Many here work in public service or work for nonprofits or the faith-based community. But we believe that service is not just for those in office or those in uniform, but service is also for those that are finding a way to go together to make lives better for people. You know, Ted Kennedy had said something in a tribute to his brother Robert Kennedy. He said, the future does not belong to those who are content with today, or apathetic toward common problems and their fellow man alike, or timid and fearful in the face of new ideas and bold projects. The future, he said, will belong to those who can blend vision, reason, and courage. And I believe that this entire room, by being here today, is embodying that. But he described a future that was brightened by the work of our own hands and driven by the spirit of service. And that's really why we're all here today. You know, many have given a lot for me to be able to stand up here today, and I was thinking about that as I was coming over here. My parents had always reminded me that no matter what situation I faced, regardless of personal adversity, that somebody else needed things more. My mom has an expression, she'd always say, someone always needs it more than you said. Someone always needs something more than you. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, someone needs your help more than you do. My mom isn't here today. She's in San Diego, but I would like to tell her that actually Mom needs sleep more than anybody in this room right now. You know, I've had, as the introduction said, I've had a great opportunity to serve in a lot of situations, the White House, Congress, on some very lofty presidential campaigns. But I gotta say that the reason that I really committed to public service was working for the police department, these guys that are here. You know, it's a profession that exclusively sees people at their worst. At their worst. I mean, if you're meeting a police officer, your day, something's going wrong. But every single day, these guys, these men and women get up because they say to themselves that even in that situation of no hope, the ability to just simply impact that one person's life, to bring justice to that family, to maybe take that troubled teen and make their life better. Those singular stories over our course of all of these statistics are what makes it all worth it, and makes public service something that we should all ascribe to do. And I think that you're all here today because you also feel that same feeling of inspiration. And it's a feeling of, quite frankly, it's what the Salvation Army Corps is all about. You know, each of you knows that the Salvation Army is more than ringing the bells and writing bells, as Jim was talking about. It's a driving force of welcoming spirit fortified over 150 years ago. It began in the streets of London, came over to Philadelphia, across this continent, and actually ended up right here in the Oakland Ferry Terminal, which is pretty remarkable. That the first kettle experience was right here in California. Salvation Army Captain Joseph McPhee sought to provide a Christmas dinner for those who didn't have it. He served it in a kettle, and here we are, about 100 years later, using it as a symbol of doing things for people that simply have less than we do. These days, these red kettles all over California and the world provide meals, toys, gifts, and more. They mean turkeys on Thanksgiving, enjoying Christmas, and joy for families that simply desperately need it. They mean taking care of our fellow Californians, our fellow Americans, and recognizing that there's a cause bigger than ourselves. To me, it's really just a whole new generation of acceptance, a whole new generation of saying that we are a community. It doesn't have to be siloed, it doesn't have to be divisive, it doesn't have to be the way that we've always seen to do business, sort of this no because as opposed to yes if. There are two different ways of approaching things. We can do these things together. It's about how we come together that way. And that's why, quite frankly, I'm really honored and proud to be able to serve my community here, why I wanted to raise a family here today. And it's one of the reasons why I give thanks during this Thanksgiving. I mean, it is a season of giving thanks, but it's also, quite frankly, a season of giving. And that's why we're here to make sure that the people that have less have a little bit more and recognize that they are equal members of the Santa Cruz community. That they aren't forgotten. every single person in this room has a responsibility to remember that everybody that lives in this community should be treated the same way, with some sense of dignity, with equality. And when we have these things and these gifts and we sit here and we're even able to donate, there's a lot of people that couldn't even think about that. There's a lot of people that are wondering not just where the next meal is going to come from, but where the child care is going to come from in this community. Or for that matter, where the job is going to come from in this community. These problems are real, and I really urge you to listen to their stories. Their stories are the stories that should be inspiring us today, and they should be really bringing us to action. They should drive us into the community to serve, and we have this opportunity to carry on this tradition. It's not just deeply rooted in California with the Oakland issue, with Oakland and Salvation Army, but it's deeply rooted here in Santa Cruz. We have overcome some significant adversity in this community, significant issues, and the only way that we did it, from the earthquake to February 26th to the financial issues to today, is it wasn't an individual person that did it, it was a community that did it, standing up together to do it. You know, it's been said that our future may lie beyond our vision, but it's not completely beyond our control. And this is what this season's all about, and it's what the red kettle symbolizes. So you had to know that if they were going to ask an elected official up here, the elected official was going to ask you for money. Right? That's what we do best. I mean, we make public policy and change people's lives. But we're really good at asking for money. So you can give with your hearts, you can give with your time, and those are very important things. In fact, there's really nothing more important than that. But why we're really here is also make sure that you can also open up. Well, maybe not a checkbook because they bounce, but a credit card and cash are guaranteed. Now, I was told that the goal here is $30,000, and there are pieces of paper on the table to pledge, and there's also a red kettle in the middle to donate.
First of all, we want to congratulate Jim Wehrman for the honor today, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for your endorsement. You've been a huge fan of ours since we first got here, and we appreciate everything you do.
Well, and you are the new PR manager?
Yeah, director of PR. And it's so great to be a part of the Warriors, just doing so much for the community. And now we're starting the season of giving. It's wonderful to kind of kick it off and be recognized by a wonderful organization like the Salvation Army. We're looking to do some really exciting things over the next few weeks to give back to Santa Cruz. And it's great to join an organization whose mission from the get-go is to give back and really be in tune with Santa Cruz.
Welcome to Santa Cruz.
Thank you.
And here we have Angela Chestnut.
Yes, thank you, Joyce. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here on behalf of supporting the Santa Cruz Warriors and Jim Wehrman for all their wonderful work, and of course supporting me with all of my nonprofit involvement in the community as well. So happy holidays.
And you are?
Hi, I'm Leonie Mendoza. I'm Jim Wehrman's executive assistant, and I just want to say happy holidays.
Thank you. Well, everybody, I was just saying you have all these beautiful women around you to get the work done.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to have somebody who actually shows up and does the work, as opposed to those of us who just talk about and take credit for the work. But in the long run, this has really been a great event. It's a great event every year, and we wish you a great holiday season.
So thank you again for joining us for the Salvation Army Kettle Kick Off, and have a happy holiday, everybody. Bye now.
Happy holidays.